He'd never say never about a possible NFL return. People have speculated the GOAT may not be done with football after announcing his retirement last month. TB12 added fuel to the fire in a recent interview when he said he's enjoyed spending time with his family, but also added, quote, "I wish I had a clearer vision of what the future holds." So, Greg Jennings, do you have any issue with Brady continuing to leave the door ajar for a possible return?
I really don't. And I respect Brady for being honest with himself and with his family. Look, he's in an exciting place right now. He's retired. He's spending a lot more time with his family, but he's in a real battle where with something that he hasn't experienced, and that's retirement. Like, he's been playing football at a high level for 20 plus years. And for us to believe that he can just walk away and not look back, not peek back, not wonder what if, not think about what could potentially be, and if this is it, that's going to be really challenging for someone like that. And for me, I can use myself as an example. When I retired, I believed that I was done. I truly believed in my heart that I was done. But when I really knew I was done, it was when I was working for this network and we were down in Houston for the Super Bowl, and I'm standing on the field and I'm talking to Julio Jones, and I see Tom and I see him run out, and I had no sense of feeling or urgency of, man, I wish I was back out there. That was when I literally remember calling my wife after walking off from pregame and telling her, yeah, I'm really done. Like, it was in that moment. And prior to that, I truly believed that I was done, but I knew for certain I was done when that happened, when I didn't have that feeling. And for Tom Brady, that hasn't happened. The NFL season, it just got over. So he hasn't even seen off-season start. He hasn't seen preseason football. He hasn't seen training camp. When you start to see those things, those thoughts of, man, I still wish I was there, or, man, I want no part of that. Once you start having those thoughts, that's when you start to truly find out whether or not you're completely done and your decision is final. But until then, yeah, he's going to have these back and forth ideas and thoughts, and I'm fine with that.
I don't have a problem with him leaving the door open if that's what he's doing. Are we sure that that is what he's doing? To Greg's point, look, going into retirement, especially the one thing that I've heard from professional athletes, tell other professional athletes, is play as long as you can. Because once you're done, you're done. And in that regard, Tom Brady, if he's having any second thoughts, would be understandable because he still can play. J-Mac loves to trot out the statistics that he had last season, but the fact of the matter is he could still be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL and continue to play even at his ripe old age. But let's consider where he made these comments. It was on a golf channel. It was on a golf podcast. What is he doing? He's playing golf. And he didn't say, I don't know what my football future holds. He said, I don't know what my future holds, because he's also talked about, and they talked about it on the podcast, about all the opportunities that he has off the field. Look at what Peyton Manning is doing in terms of the Manning cast and looking at interest in buying a team and just a variety of options. Tom Brady has all of that. And what his life looks like going forward, yes, he doesn't know what the future holds. He just is a couple months away from being completely consumed by football. So whether he's thinking about playing again or not, he doesn't know what the future holds. Like, what's he going to do? How's he going to occupy his time? I guarantee you that golf's going to go by pretty quickly, and he's going to want something else to get his attention. I think Greg can speak to that. Like, it sounds good where you're just kicking back, but ultimately, even in your 40s, you still want the opportunity to say, okay, what am I going to do next? What's the next chapter?
My favorite part, Rick...
No.
Go ahead.
I'm not convinced that at this point that he's having this struggle of, am I going to play again, as much as it is, what am I going to do with this time that I have and all these opportunities? If he's making the adjustment from man, that emptiness of not getting ready for another season or what the offseason, I completely understand that, and I'm sure that he's going through that. But the idea that he's toying, I mean, it wouldn't say much for Tom Brady as a husband or as a father if a couple months into freedom, he's going, yeah, okay, this is good, but I'd really like to get back to playing because, buying ice cream and spending time with the kids and family vacations. I mean, okay, I've already had my fill. That's why I'm not buying that he's already thinking I'm going to return to football. I think there's plenty of other people that would like him to return to football. I think there are more people that are thinking about it that way than he is.
But that's the funny thing, Rick. In the podcast, he actually says, okay, I've played a lot of golf and I've hung out with my kids for 5 weeks. And he essentially says, now what? Like, what am I supposed to do now? He's going to visit his parents. He's hanging out with his family. Like, I'm going to go on vacations. Like, okay, now what? He's used to training in the offseason, grinding, getting ready for next season. And again, you listen to Brady and his passion for football, and you think of like Jimi Hendrix was born to play the guitar. Like Frank Sinatra was born to sing. Tom Brady was born to play football, guys. The way he prepares is like no other quarterback. This guy is so relentless with how he gets ready every offseason. And I can totally see a scenario where he's like, I can't wake up every day. My kids go to school. I'm playing golf. Like, that's going to get boring. And I know you can pump up the TB12. And, Greg, you can talk about maybe Brady goes into announcing or he starts some knockoff Manning cast deal. Like, that's okay. That's fun. But the reality is Tom Brady is still at the top of his game. He was the runner-up, I believe, or third place after Burrow was second in the MVP voting. The stats, I know Rick poo-pooed analytics last segment we had. He's like, stats, NBA stats, who cares? Tom Brady's NFL stats are unbelievable. The guy's still one of the best at his advanced age. He could take a couple months off, train, and teams would be bending over backward to get him. That's a value Tom Brady has. So this idea that he's totally done, I'm definitely not believing it. And I would love him to return to the league for another season. Do you know how quickly the league would scamper to get whatever team he's on into Sunday Night Football,
Sure.
Fox's biggest window, Monday Night Football? Like, yes, Tom Brady is one of the biggest draws. He's a crossover star, Greg. Like, this is a guy who your mom knows about, your grandparents know about. Tom Brady is, we don't need him leaving football. If Tom Brady wants to come back, the door's open everywhere for him.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say we don't need him leaving football. And football is better with Tom Brady because that's all we've known for the last 20-plus years. However, let me let you in on a little mindset when you retire. Like, everyone thinks that, oh, man, Tom Brady has everything going on. He has all these different initiatives and endeavors. That is true. But none of them are as met with the passion and the zeal and just the excitement as what football brings. And that's the challenge. For me, that was the challenge. Yes, I came right into Fox, and I had a lot of other initiatives, and I had things going on around me. And becoming dad and being more present, all of that was fun and exciting, and I wanted all of that. But it was still something that I felt like, man, but what can I be more passionate about like football? What can I be more disciplined in like football, like I was before? You compare everything to what you just left. And for Tom Brady, leaving at the level that he left at the height, we're not talking about a cliff that he fell off of, because he never fell off that cliff. He decided to walk away. And so when you are still playing at an optimum level, and to your point, playing where you could be arguably top 5 still playing at that quarterback position, you're going to have those types of thoughts and those ideals of, man, is it anything else that can give me that fulfillment? Because, yes, I have a lot of things going. I'm making a lot of business moves, but nothing gives me that high like that, what I was experiencing when I was on that football field, when I had something that I was training for, when that goal was just that pursuit, that all that I put in was for that one accomplishment. And that high is hard to meet. And it is hard to match and find when you walk away from the game, specifically as long as Tom Brady has been playing. I only played it professionally for 10 years. He doubled that for me. So imagine that.
So we have two examples of elite athletes, elite players, and both of them in the NBA, and how they were able to deal with retirement. Michael Jordan and the late Kobe Bryant. And you brought up the comparisons, J-Mac, about Michael Jordan and the Jordan brand being similar to TB12. I'm actually going to take that from you. Tom Brady has TB12. He's already been setting things up for that post-retirement challenge. And you're right, Greg. Nothing's ever going to replicate the competitive level, just the man in the arena. Again, another thing that Tom Brady has set up, which is creating documentaries about everything that he's experienced as an NFL player. I fully expect that Tom Brady is going to forge a new road. He's not going to go into TV or do something that other guys have done, because that hasn't been the Tom Brady way. He's always found a unique path. But I saw the late Kobe Bryant find that thing, turn off that one competitive switch and turn on another, and ultimately creating, what was it, won an Oscar for the letter to basketball. He found a way to shift